Tim Jones, you're from the Sustainable Energy Forum. You spoke tonight at the Ramsey House Climate Change Forum. You looked at different sectors and their contributions to climate change and global warming within the New Zealand economy. Rather than go over the issues, what do you see as the solutions in each of those sectors?
Okay, in agriculture and forestry, it's changes in land use, it's the use of nitrification inhibitors, it's running lower stock levels, and it's using changes in feed and advances in breeding in the area of reducing methane.
Transport?
In transport, we have to completely reverse the current approach of transport policy. Building state highways is both stupid in the long term and will simply lead to increased emissions in the short term. We need to put the funding into electrified rail, sea freight, rail freight, public transport, active modes, not the complete dominance of the private car.
And who does that? Does the government just wish up the money, or is there a tax, or do we borrow to do this? How do we get that that capital formation to do that?
We've already got a very great deal of money going into transport through Transit New Zealand. The problem is that the vast bulk of it is going into roading, and that is, for both reasons of climate change and future fuel supply issues, that is the wrong way to go.
Energy.
In energy, New Zealand is very well placed to have at least 90% renewable energy. That's for electricity generation. We have been dropping away from that in recent years. We have the capability to go back to that quite quickly. Energy is probably the place that we can make the fastest progress, in fact.
Going back to agriculture, it seems a thorny issue, very lively meeting tonight, quite strong disagreements from the head of Federated Farmers with the academics and activists on the floor. It seems needs to be some sort of political consensus needs to happen before anything's going to move on this. Are you optimistic about this happening, and if so, why?
It won't be easy. The farming lobby is very powerful in New Zealand. It particularly has a great deal of influence with the National Party. Ultimately, they're going to have to change for three reasons. One, our international markets aren't going to stand for New Zealand farming having such an antediluvian approach to climate issues. Secondly, the farming community itself is going to realise that its best interests are in actually facing up to the issue of climate change and doing something about it rather than denying it.
You think there basically has to be some form of carbon tax to drive change on the land. You don't see a change in our banking system to assist farmers to do that, like government involvement through Kiwi Bank and other organisation. We used to have the Investment Finance Corporation and various other government instruments for putting money where the government wanted to see investment. You don't see a future in that sort of economy?
I think that there's quite radical changes to the economy are going to be needed because there's such a close correlation between economic growth and growth in emissions that I think you have to question, and I should say this is my personal view coming through here, you have to question whether a model based on economic growth can be associated with reductions in emissions. Certainly the banks play an important role in driving high and unsustainable stocking levels on farms, so if what it takes is to look again at the banking system, then that's what we have to do.
Just to put cards on the table for people watching this off the net, you're connected with the Green Party, or you're independent, or?
I'm not a member of any political party, as a matter of fact. I'm certainly, the groups that I'm involved in are committed to transition to a sustainable energy system and interested in New Zealand interested in New Zealand finding ways to actually meet our obligations to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions to the level dictated by the state of climate science. And let me tell you that the state of climate science is not getting better for climate deniers.
Okay, thank you very much. Cheers.